feel empowered to do something about it, and then you actually make the change.
NYC is really impactful in the government and community because it gives youth the opportunity to engage in a process that otherwise seems very far away and just kind of disempowering because you can't vote, and a lot of times you feel like adults don't really care what your opinion is, and yeah, the youth voice just isn't valued and isn't given the credibility, maybe because of the lack of experience or just a lot of different reasons that youth just don't feel listened to.
When you're in a place like that and the society tells you they value you, you're the next generation, you're the future, but then they give you resources like that, those are counters. Like, I come from a place where actions speak louder than words, and if we're looking at the actions as young people back then, the students that were on that board, a lot of us came from institutions where that was exactly how we felt. We felt overlooked, we felt undervalued, and we felt like the adults in our lives weren't really concerned about really building us up so that we can take over for the future. But we felt like participating in the Youth Advisory Board gave us the opportunity for once to be in a platform or in a space to engage with adults who did care.
The Youth Commission is so essential because it is a institutionalized structure that creates space for young people to bring their authentic voice and experience into the conversations of government, which is exactly what we need to do to be successful. Because if we don't have that partnership in our community relationships, we're not going to make the best policies, and we're not going to do the best job that we can potentially do, because the voices will be absent from the conversation. So the Youth Commission is essential, just like any other constituency base is essential when government needs to make decisions that are impacting those populations of people.
When adults make policies for youth, you don't see young people's experiences like actually in the policy. Versus if you look at policy recommendations that the Youth Against Violence Committee drafted with the support of hundreds of youth, and the Sustainability Committee drafted tons of transit-related policy recommendations, like, there's no way that adults could sit for like maybe 5 times as long and like attempt to come up with something as authentic as like young people just talking to other young people and coming up with it. But I don't even still believe that it would be the same.
The Youth Commission is really the one structural place within the city and the county where 1/3 of our population is able to have a voice and really inform the decisions that we're making that impact that population. So I think it's critical. I think it's also important because it sets a tone for other young people, the 120,000 plus people under 25, that says that their voices matter and that they have a role and a voice and a place at the table. The Youth Commission is that table and is the body that goes out and has avenues and opportunities for young people to say, I have ideas for how this community can be better. And if the Youth Commission didn't exist, I'm not sure how young people would find their way into what can be a really complicated system sometimes. And so I think it's critically important, and I think it's essential to our democracy and the way that our city and our county run and make decisions.
For elected officials to understand that NYC is a resource for their community work, I think sometimes folks don't think about how being on the NYC, how working with the NYC can help them in other ways. How can it strengthen their decision making as policymakers? How can it help them strengthen the programs the government's running? How do we really look for them as a resource in identifying needs in the community? I think that would be, I'd love to see elected officials really think about bringing the NYC in early on projects so they can start to access the resources that are available to them through the NYC, and use the NYC as an access point to other groups of youth in the community beyond the youth commissioners.
One of the biggest projects I worked on in the NYC was having my hands in the Youth Pass, being able to testify at City Council and talk about my experience with the Youth Pass and how it's impacted me in my life. And then seeing it pass and go on for another year was great, and being able to use that after the year was up, and then continuing on and graduating from high school and having my younger brothers go to high school and seeing them use the Youth Pass and all the great things that it's doing for them definitely makes me happy to know that I had my hands in that opportunity.
for example, this year we worked with the NYC Sustainability Committee on their transit justice campaign. And simultaneously, I had been part of a research team here at PSU looking at transit-dependent riders. And that project wasn't really focused on youth, it was really focused on adult riders. But through this engagement with the NYC, we were able to bring in more information about youth riders, you know, take a separate look at the data that TriMet had on youth, and you know, sort of really bring a totally new light to how that system operates system-wide.
All of the advocacy around TriMet passes, that's been a huge, huge, significant project, but I don't think a lot of people necessarily make that connection of how important the Youth Commission's advocacy has been over the years.
I think the Youth Commission is really important in government because there's no space that actually devotes time to youth voice, especially when youth in Multnomah County are almost a third of the population. And use a lot of the services.
The Youth Commission has always been something that I can point to in my role as Teen Services Specialist with the library as, look what youth in our community are accomplishing. And I think that can be inspiring to the youth who are involved with our library. We have lots of youth who are involved with the library as volunteers, working on different kinds of projects. And so seeing that kind of broader community involvement is great for the youth who are working with the library, and then also for library staff, again, to just see the kinds of things that can be accomplished.
I think that there is a point in time where the City of Portland was very serious about engaging youth in a formal process or in formal systems. We had a youth planner program. We hired youth to help with planning projects. I think we've lost some of that. I would love to see that value and those programs institutionalized more solidly. I think just because of the form of government, certain things are more vulnerable than others, and it just tells me that we need to instill the importance of engaging youth more sincerely with the City of Portland and more broadly, so it's not just the value of a single elected individual, but it's the value of the city and how it operates. So we all look, you know, we work with the Youth Commission with the perspective that we are creating a city for the next 20 years, and the youth are the people who often more than others are the ones that need to be engaged because we are creating a city for them.
The thing that we've always said on the Youth Commission is you're the expert of your own experience. Nobody sitting in any room, in any nonprofit or government agency knows what it's like to be a 16-year-old in Gresham other than a 16-year-old in Gresham. They own that experience. And so I think that's a critical piece of what makes the Youth Commission successful, is that it gives young people a place to really own their own expertise. They know this community. They know what it feels like to be in our schools, to be on the MACs, to be in neighborhoods, and they can tell us on the ground how this community can be better and stronger and more vibrant from their perspective.
I got involved with the NYC through my sister. She had been here for 2 years, and I came to one of the meetings with her. And I got to see how the meetings were facilitated. They were facilitated by young people. Each committee had also their own co-chairs, and she was one of them. And I saw how she did her work, how she facilitated, how everyone listened to her, how she was really confident speaking in front of people. And I said, I want to be like that. I want to be that confident like hers. And I thought this was a good idea.
The reason I keep coming back is because of the diversity of the Youth Commission. We have so many people in the Youth Commission with different backgrounds, and sometimes, when they start, they're not empowered as much. By the time they finish their first year, they're more empowered to they know that they can make change happen.
I'm part of the Youth Against Violence Committee, and I was here when it got started in 2011. In November, one of the somebody from my middle school was shot and killed, and that was something that got me thinking I need to do something about it. And I feel like these past 4 years we've done really important work for the community, And that's one of the reasons I keep coming back for the work that I do, because I know it's impacting my community in a positive way.
That really stands out in the community. I was actually talking to a friend of mine who lives in Washington, and you heard about the Youth Against Violence work that the Youth Commission did. So, you know, me being part of the Youth Commission really made me really feel really proud of being on the NYC.
An impact in my life was actually the Multnomah Youth Commission staff, because he pushed me, he challenged me to become a better person, a better leader. He encouraged me to take on leadership roles, to facilitate workshops, and he made me practice once and twice and 3 times so I could get it right. Of course, it has empowered me in so many ways. When I came my freshman year, I was super quiet, and it has really empowered me, the fact that I'm now in my position as a co-chair. I think that shows a lot about how the Youth Commission has made my confidence go up, like, by a lot. And it has given me leadership skills that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
I will forever be grateful for being on the Youth Commission. I think I've met some of the best people on the Youth Commission. I've made some really great friends that I still keep in contact with. I think it's definitely something that pioneered me being able to go out and tackle anything that I feel like I want to. It's definitely an empowering experience, something that I'll never forget, and it's something that I attribute a lot of my wins in life to. It gave me a lot of opportunities that I think I wouldn't have had the chance to do outside of being a part of the NYC. I think that they do amazing work, and I know that they have the best of the best youth that are on there every single year, and I'm just really excited to see what they do next.